Hello, students, parents, and staff. Today we are going to be reading a story called The Golden Windows, and this helps us to answer the question of who has the best house in the world. The question begins with a who, but what we're going to see a lot more in this story is
where.
We're going to be talking a lot about where because the story has a lot of different places in it. In order to help us with
Where?
I have put together a PowerPoint for us to see some of the different places as we talk about them in the story. When we are doing this, if you have the word where on your device somewhere, you can find that word, or you can find some different places that are in your device, like the park or a house, or just anywhere that might be interesting to you. If it goes along with the story, that's great. If you don't have a lot of the locations that are in the story, you can just share some of the locations that you like to go. Parents and staff, as you listen to this video and help your students through it, you can show your students what are some places that you like to go. Or you can also be modeling for them some of the different places that are in the story using the words on their device. So I will share this PowerPoint with you. And this is the story, The Golden Windows. Roberto lived on a farm way out in the country at the edge of a wide green valley with wooded mountains all around. His house stood on top of a hill. It was a good place to live, with lots of room for a boy to roam. In the afternoons, after he finished his homework, he would feed his calf, throw sticks in the pond, or just wander around the farm. Roberto's favorite time of day was evening, just when the sun was getting ready to set. He liked to sit on his porch and look across the valley at another hill that rose in the distance. On that far hill stood an old house with windows of gold. The only time of day when he could see the windows was right before the sun went down, and then they were so bright that Roberto had to squint when he looked at them. They gleamed across the whole valley, and the boy thought it must be the most wonderful home in the world. On one Saturday, Roberto decided to go see the house with windows of gold. He made a lunch and put it in his backpack. Then he said goodbye to his father and mother and promised to be careful and started across the valley. It was a beautiful day for a hike. The sun smiled and white clouds floated above the distant mountaintops. Roberto passed fields of wheat and pastures of cows that stared at him over the fences. Every once in a while, a car passed him on the road. It was usually someone he knew, and he waved. His shadow walked beside him and gave him company. It was all very cheerful. After a while, he felt hungry, so he sat down beside a clear stream that ran down the middle of the valley. He ate his sandwich, an apple, and a candy bar. Then he started off again. Finally, he came to a high green hill. He trudged up the side, and there was the house on top. But when he got close, his mouth dropped open in surprise. It was just an ordinary house, like any other house, with ordinary windows made out of glass. There wasn't anything golden about them. A woman came to the door, smiled at Roberto, and said hello. I saw the windows of gold from our hilltop, he said, and I came all this way to see them up close. The woman shook her head and laughed. No, I'm afraid we don't have windows of gold, she said. We just have glass windows, but glass is better to see through. She invited Roberto to sit on the porch. She brought him a piece of cake and a glass of milk, and they talked for a while. Then she called her daughter, who was about Roberto's age, and they went back inside the house. The girl's name was Nancy. She led Roberto all around the farm and showed him her black calf, which had a white star on his forehead. He told her about his own calf at home, which was brown like an acorn with 4 white feet. When they had eaten an apple together and become good friends, Roberto asked her about the golden windows. "You come the wrong way," Nancy said. "Come with me. I'll show you the house with the golden windows." They walked toward a rise behind her house. As they went, Nancy told Roberto that the golden windows could be seen only at a certain hour before sunset. "Yes, I know that," said Roberto. As they reached the rise, the girl turned and pointed across the wide valley. There, on a hill far away, stood a house with windows of gleaming gold, just as he had seen them. When he looked again, Roberto saw that it was his own home. He told Nancy he must go. He gave her his best pebble, the one with the white band and the red stripe, which he had carried for a year in his pocket. She gave him a whistle she had gotten out of a cereal box. He promised to come again, but he did not tell her what he had learned. He hurried back down the hill, and Nancy stood in the light of the sunset and watched him. It was almost dark when Roberto reached his own house. His family was getting ready for supper. When he opened the door, his mother came to kiss him, and his little sister ran to throw her arms around his neck. His father, who was setting the table, smiled. "Did you have a good day?" asked his mother. Yes, he had had a very good day. "And did you learn anything?" asked his father. "Yes," said Roberto. "I learned that our house has windows of gold." Okay, so that is the end of our House with Golden Windows story. I hope that you enjoyed it. And please let me know if you found a place that would be your favorite place on your device. Or if your family says a different place, and you say like, then that would be something that would be great to share as well. Again, we were talking about our where questions, which is our WH questions. And in answer to all of these where questions were all of these pictures that we looked at. Those are all where question answers. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.